let's start with the Fiesta Bowl. Who thought we were going to be seeing Miami and Ole Miss?
Yeah, neither one of us, because I'm pretty sure we had those 2 teams as our least likely upsets, and look what happened. They both did it. So, if you're listening to the High Differential podcast, which I hope you are, if you're hearing us, that means you are. We don't know ball. So, we don't know ball. We just talk a bunch of nonsense and did not expect either one of those teams to be in the position that they are. Especially Ole Miss with all the kind of circus that went around, the coaching turnover there, and who's coaching, who's not coaching, and all of that. But man, credit to them. They played a great game against Georgia. After they lost to Georgia earlier in the year, and came back and got that revenge.
I mean, they've lost one game, and they led for 3 quarters of in that game and then blew it in the 4th, and that was Georgia, and then they ended up getting a revenge on them last week. I mean, I didn't like all these games, and now we've seen it. Teams with a bye are 1-7 overall. Indiana's the only team that's won after getting a bye, and we'll get into that in their game more, but even them on their first drive, Mendoza gets sacked twice. They go 3 and out. They kinda were able to get in the rhythm after that, but I didn't think Georgia played terrible in this game.
No, it was this game was definitely the game of the quarterfinals. I mean, it was back and forth. It was close pretty much the whole way. Georgia kicks the field goal with less than a minute to play to tie it, and Ole Miss goes right down the field and kicks that game winner with 6 seconds left. So, it was by far the best game of the four. And you talked about it with the teams on buys being 1-7, and we mentioned, like, is it a disadvantage not playing for a month? Like, these teams they're coming off, a game from the week before, or week 10 days before, are back in game shape, and you take that month off, and it's like almost like you're starting the season over.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that played that much of a role in this game because I didn't think Georgia came out and played poorly. I mean, they built a lead and really looked like they were in control.
Yeah.
And, you know, but the best player on the football field to me was Trinidad Chambliss. And
Yes.
when they were able to, get pressure on him, he was able to make those Superman hero plays to keep Ole Miss in drives. I mean, he's running back to the 5-yard
He
line at
went
one
almost
point.
into his own end zone. He about
Yeah.
ran into his own end zone and came out of it.
And I mean, it helps when you've got the best player.
Yeah.
And on whatever day that was, New Year's Day, he was the best player, and I think he was the reason why they were able to come out victorious. I don't think it was because Georgia was on a bye and was kinda sleepwalking. I don't think that was the case. That's been the case in some of these games,
Yeah.
and I
No,
don't think that was the case in that game.
I don't think in this game it was either. I mean, like you said, Trinidad Chambliss was the best player on the field. I mean, he threw for 362 yards and 2 touchdowns, against a pretty good Georgia defense. Hey, yeah, I mean, Ole Miss won it for a little bit of that game. Like you said, Georgia was in control. They were up 9, but Ole Miss was just the better team that day, and which to me is just kind of surprising. Like I said, with all the stuff that went off or went around after their last game in the Egg Bowl, and Lane Kiffin leaving, and who's coaching, and all that. So credit to that coaching staff, to get these guys focused, and have a game plan together to beat Georgia.
Yeah, and then on the other side, I mean, I don't think either one of us obviously didn't see this one coming as well, as Miami's defense continues to play lights out in the playoff. They're not doing a ton offensively, but they haven't had to in the first 2 games, and I do think maybe the bye affected Ohio State a little bit, uh, potentially. I don't think they played as smooth as game as I said, like, I don't think it affected Georgia. I think maybe it did affect Ohio State, but, I mean, Miami in their 2 games have rushed for 330 yards. Uh, so it's, a lot of people are comparing this Miami team to Ohio State, who made the run through 4 games and won it all last year.
Yeah, I mean, the story is Miami's defense, obviously, especially their defensive line, probably the best in the country with Ruben Bain, leading the way there. And they showed it once again against Ohio State. They had that defensive touchdown, which really kind of set the tone. They were up 7-0 and put them up 2 scores. Yeah, I mean, Mark Fletcher's a beast. They dominated pretty much. That they were in control that whole game against Ohio State. And you look at Ohio State, it's did we overestimate them? Like, did they? The 3 games where they played their quality team. They're top 3 teams that they've played all season. They put up low scoring number. They had 10 against IU or something like that, and against Texas, they put up, 13 and then 14 here against, Miami. So, when the competition gets tougher, Ohio State just doesn't seem to put up very impressive offensive numbers.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of what you see in college football. Where you don't get to play everybody. You're kind of stuck in playing your conference. You get one or two non-conference games, and then sometimes you get situations like this. But now we've got Miami and Ole Miss. Who are you leaning towards to go to the ship?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, and, uh, if I had to pick a team, I would probably say, I mean, I keep going against the Canes, but I'm probably gonna say Ole Miss, uh, would be my favorite to win that. Like I said, they've only lost 1 game all year. They've been challenged. They played in the SEC, so they've been challenged against some good teams, mainly Georgia twice, and some other good ones. And Miami, I mean, I keep underestimating them. I mean, with that defense, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But I just think Ole Miss might be just a little bit better. I don't know.
Well, I think whoever wins this game is going to have to score 20 points at least.
Yeah,
And who do I have more confidence in doing that? I don't know. Like we've talked about how good Miami's been rushing the football, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to. They want Carson Beck to just kind of control the game, don't make mistakes, and
yeah,
rely on that running game. Like I
yeah,
said, they have 330 rushing yards in their first 2 games. Ole Miss has given up 150 yards per game throughout the entire year. So
yeah.
that lends to think that maybe Miami can have success running the ball. They still gotta get to that 20-point mark, I think, who wins that game. Um, to me, what it comes down is because Miami's gonna get pressure with their front four. They don't have to blitz. They're gonna bring that front four. They're gonna get pressure on Chambliss. Can he make plays like he did against Georgia, where he's out of pocket? Because if he starts running around and making those linemen run all over the place and wears them out a little bit, maybe that plays in the favor of Ole Miss. I think it's a tough game. I thought you were gonna go to Miami. I really did. And
I mean,
I was
look,
gonna
I
go Ole
think
Miss because I just to me, Trinidad Chambliss is the best player on the field
he
at this
is.
point. And that makes me wanna lean Ole Miss. I didn't go Ole Miss last week because of all the coaching staff stuff. And now there's more changes. Some of them are flying back and forth between Oxford and
Yeah.
Baton
No,
Rouge.
that's
But
true.
I this is why I had it as the least likely upset last week.
Yeah,
And or and now I'm kind of flipping to where I don't think it matters. I just want to roll the momentum and see them go all the way without Lane Kiffin.
yeah. I think it's gonna be a close game, I think, and I think you're right. You score the 20 points, you're probably gonna win. I think Ole Miss wins if they don't make mistakes and turn the ball over. So if they don't turn the ball over, I think their offense is good enough to get to that 20-point mark, even though Miami's defense is top, 10 in the nation or top whatever they are in the nation. I mean, you look at Ole Miss's offensive outputs in the last, I mean, they haven't scored less than 30 points since October 11th when they scored 24 against Washington State. But ever since then, they put up over 30 and even into the 40s. So their offense, I think, is good enough to get to 20 points against Miami. As long as they don't turn the ball over, I think Ole Miss probably does win.
It's definitely a game where it's a tale of two strengths. It's my Ole Miss's offense against Miami's defense. If Miami is able to get a lead early by running the football, and I think it definitely leans in favor of the Hurricanes. This is not a game that they want to get behind in.
No, no, they won't win playing from when you need Carson Beck to come from behind. I don't
But
think.
if they get up 10-0 early, I mean, I know
Yes,
we saw Georgia or Ole Miss come back against Georgia. I think Miami's defense is a little better than Georgia's. Can they do it 2 games in a row against a better defense? I don't know. But I'm surprised you're going Ole Miss. I'm going Ole Miss as well.
yeah. I mean,
But here's
it
do what?
wouldn't shock me if he went the other way either. I
No.
think it'll
I
be
mean,
close. Yeah,
nothing's gonna shock you at this point.
no, it's true.
And look, here's the thing, like, either way, we get to see Pete Golden take Ole Miss to the championship
That would be sick.
without half the coaching staff, or we get to see Miami play for a championship in their home stadium. And
True.
they're the last team that got in, and now they have a chance to play for a title in potentially their home stadium.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Well, to get to the Peach Belt, just I guess first off, your thoughts on you already kinda touched on it a little bit, but your thoughts on Indiana is just putting it on the Crimson Tide.
I mean, it was. a dominating performance. I mean, 38-3. I did not see that coming. I thought IU would win, but I thought that it would be maybe a one score game. But I mean, it was just dominating. The IU defense, absolutely outstanding. Offense, also great. Mendoza didn't have to do too much, but what he did, he was almost perfect. He was 14 of 16 for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then on the ground, they ran for 215 yards. So offensively, A plus. Defensively, holding Alabama to 3 points, A plus. And I know Simpson went out with an injury. Was that right after halftime? So at that point, the game was pretty much
It was
over
already over.
anyway. Yeah. So I don't really think that they were going to come back, but dominating performance on both sides of the ball for Indiana.
I mean, it kinda looked like what Alabama used to be, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, just fundamentally sound, not missing tackles, like, they just do everything perfect. Like, it really like, they just execute everything. They don't miss tackles in the open field. Every play they run, I feel like they run it to perfection. It's just I didn't think like, everybody was talking about that's one of the few things I think I got right, is I didn't think Alabama was gonna beat Indiana. And you waver on it a little bit just because one side you see Indiana and you see the name
Yeah.
Alabama,
I mean,
and
that's
it
that's
makes you
it.
waver.
I mean, that's
But
really what it was. Yeah.
what we've seen all year long is Indiana, if they play an inferior team, they put it on them. And I don't care if this team is Alabama, they still were an inferior team, and they put it on them. I mean,
They did.
Indiana is the clear-cut best team in the country, and if they play 2 games as well as they can and should play, they'll win a title.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little worried about the game coming up. I know they've already beat Oregon once, and we'll get into it, but I think Oregon's the best team left. I mean, if they get through Oregon, I think they win the title.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and switch over to Oregon, who I mean, we talked about Texas Tech's defense
Yeah.
and being one of the best in the country, but offensively, they had moved the ball all year, and they don't get a point against this Oregon defense, who obviously played their best game defensively that they had played all season, just needed 23 points to win. And now, I mean, there really isn't a lot to dive into to that game. It was just a dominating performance by Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have anything to add? Like,
No, I mean, you shut out Texas Tech.
yeah.
Yeah, like you said, only 23 points to win, and you still win by 23. I mean, that's pretty good. The Oregon offense against, like we said, that Texas Tech defense was their strength all season. And Oregon still put up 390 yards on them, 245 passing, only 64 on the ground, but they really didn't need to do much to
No,
win. So
no. And for all everybody's questioning their defense after James Madison in the second half was kind of having their way. They they put those questions to bed real quick.
I
And
mean, four
now,
turnovers, four turnovers by Texas Tech really kind of did them in. I think there was one pick in the end zone in that game as well. And so, yeah,
but really just a clear cut dominating performance by both of these teams. And now we do get a rematch in the Peach Bowl. I mean, do you say any way that the result is different this time?
I can see it. Yeah, I mean, that was the game in Eugene was a close one. I mean, IU didn't win it until late, and when they had that interception to kind of seal it, they only won by what was it, like 3, I believe? Let me find that score. No, they ended up winning by 10, but they put it away late. But that game was close almost the entire way. It was 20-20 in the fourth quarter. So, Oregon was right there with them. I know it was at home, so it makes it more impressive that IU went into Eugene and won. I could see the result being different. I don't think it will be different. Um, but Oregon's a really, really good football team. Like I said, I think they're probably the second best team left in this playoff. So if IU can get through it, I think they probably take the whole thing.
I mean, per the rankings, yeah, they are.
I mean, I think talent wise, I think overall they are. Like if you just use the eye test, I think they
But
are.
going into the Tech game, the one thing that I said about Oregon is their offense has not been that great when they're playing top level defenses.
Yeah.
They didn't score a ton of points against Indiana. They didn't score a ton of points against Iowa. And I mean, they scored 23 against Texas Tech, but that's I mean, and they really didn't need to put a ton of points up. So I think you can kind of push that one aside. Uh, but Dante Moore threw for less than 200 yards the last time out,
Yeah.
threw 2 picks, was
Yep.
sacked 6 times.
Yep.
But Oregon has now seen Indiana's
I was
defense.
about to say, you probably have learned from that. Like, you know what Indiana can do, and you've seen it firsthand, so now you make those adjustments, and, Dante Moore's one of the top quarterbacks expected to go in the draft. Like, if it's not Mendoza at 1, it would be him at
Sure.
1. So,
Yeah. And then
so
you
those
got
are
Campbell's on the other side who's trying to get a
right,
6th year, come back to Ole Miss. But these
right.
are 3 of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Like, Moore's got the talent to improve on 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, I would be shocked if he puts up better numbers than that. But like you said, like, you've seen this defense once. You know what you're getting yourself into. You make the adjustments, and Will Stein who's still the offensive coordinator there, before he goes to Kentucky, is regarded as one of the best offensive minds in college football. So I think he makes the adjustments necessary, and I would expect Oregon's offense to perform better than what they did.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And you gotta try to get they got their defense has gotta get some pressure on Mendoza. Yeah, the one thing that he does sometimes is take sacks. So, they gotta try to make that happen, but I just there's nothing. There's no way that I can bet against Indiana
No, I
after
wouldn't. I would not
after
either. I mean, if I think Indiana wins, and I expect it to be a largely pro Indiana crowd down in Atlanta because it's not too far from Indianapolis and in the heart of Indiana. So I mean, it is a drivable trip,
and it's not for
and
the other guys.
it is not for Oregon. So I would expect it to be a huge pro Indiana crowd, which plays into the Hoosiers' favor. And like I said, I think they do win, but I think it will still be a pretty good game.
One thing we didn't touch on was the offensive line and Pat Coogan
What,
getting
winning the
the
Rose
MVP
Bowl
of the Rose Bowl?
MVP?
Yeah.
I mean, they did give up 2 sacks on the first drive, so I was kinda surprised by that.
Well,
Yeah, they were lights out.
after that, and look, we talk about the bye not being ready. They weren't ready for 3 plays.
Yeah,
And then it was like, "All right, let's go."
yeah,
But do you really whoever wins this game, you think wins it all?
yes.
So I'm not so sure on that.
Do you think Ole Miss could beat one of these teams? Because you have Ole Miss beating Miami, so you
I
think
think
Ole
either
Miss
I think Ole Miss or Miami can beat
okay.
Oregon.
Could they beat Indiana? Okay.
I mean, anything can happen, but if they both teams play their best games now.
Indiana as a national champion football team would be unbelievable.
I mean, we've talked about
That
it.
blows my mind.
There's
Blows my
there's
mind.
nothing comparable about it in college athletics and athletics maybe ever.
Give